The metallic clang of boots on durasteel echoed through the residential sector of Station Theta 7. Marcus Chen stood at the viewport of his modest dome habitat, watching the procession of 6 armored enforcers march toward his door, with the kind of bureaucratic certainty that came from never being told no. Behind him, in the small kitchen, his wife Sarah hummed an old earthfolk song while preparing tea. The sound was incongruous with the approaching storm, but then again everything about Sarah was incongruous with what people expected. The door chimed. Then it chimed again, more insistently. "I'll get it," Marcus called out, but Sarah's hand on his shoulder stopped him. "Let them wait," she said softly, her gray eyes twinkling with something between amusement and steel. "The tea's almost ready." Marcus had learned in their 15 years of marriage that when Sarah said to wait, you waited. The enforcers, however, hadn't learned that lesson. The door chime became a pounding. An amplified voice crackled through the comm system. "Marcus Chen, by order of the station council, you are hereby served notice of eviction. You have 10 minutes to gather essential belongings before—" Sarah pressed the door release. The lead enforcer, a Draxian with mottled blue skin and forearms, stood with his shock baton raised. Behind him, 2 humans, 2 Kelvorians, and 1 massive Throck formed an intimidating wall of authority. "Mr. Chen," the Draxian began, consulting a datapad with one hand, while the others remained threateningly poised. "You are 3 cycles behind on habitat fees. The council has voted unanimously to—" He stopped mid-sentence. Sarah had stepped into view. She wasn't wearing the casual clothes Marcus had last seen her in. Instead, she stood in the full dress uniform of the Terran Defense Fleet, immaculate white with gold piping, 4 stars gleaming on each shoulder, and a chest full of ribbons that told stories most beings only whispered about in fearful tones. The siege of Proxima, the Kelvorian uprising, the defense of Sol Admiral, the Draxian breathed, and Marcus watched with satisfaction as all 6 enforcers snapped to attention so quickly that one of the humans nearly dropped his weapon. Sarah raised one eyebrow. At ease. Her voice carried the easy authority of someone who'd commanded fleets of warships. "Now, someone want to explain why armed personnel are harassing a civilian at his residence?" The Draxian's forearms trembled slightly. "Admiral Hayes, we didn't know." The record said, "Sarah Chen, not—" "Sarah Chen is my married name," she said, picking an invisible piece of lint off her sleeve, "which I use because I'm retired and enjoying a quiet life with my husband on this charming little station." Her smile was pleasant, but her eyes could have frozen hydrogen. "Or at least I was enjoying it until the station council decided 3 cycles of late fees, which, if you check your records properly, were caused by a banking error we reported 2 cycles ago, warranted sending armed thugs to my door." Marcus bit back a grin. He'd tried to tell the council about the banking error. They'd sent him automated responses and dismissals. The Draxian was scrolling frantically through his datapad now, all 4 hands moving in panicked coordination. Yes, there is a note here, flagged for review. But the council said—" "The council said," Sarah repeated, her voice dropping to a dangerous quiet. "Tell me, officer, do you know what I did for 35 years before retirement?" You commanded the 3rd Fleet, ma'am. And do you know what the 3rd Fleet does?" The enforcer swallowed hard, his skin color shifting to a paler blue. "Station protection and peacekeeping across the outer rim, ma'am." "That's right. Which means every single station in this sector, including this one, exists because my fleet kept the trade routes clear, the pirates at bay, and the Kelvorian warlords from turning you all into target practice." She stepped forward, and despite being half the Draxian's size, he actually took a step back. "And now I'm being evicted over a banking error and 3 cycles of fees that amount to—" "What was it, Marcus?" 400 credits, Marcus supplied helpfully. 400 credits. Sarah shook her head in apparent disbelief. "I've lost more than that in my couch cushions." One of the human enforcers, young, probably fresh out of training, cleared his throat nervously. "Ma'am, the council doesn't— that is, they're not aware of your service record. They just see delinquent accounts and they sent you to handle it rather than doing their jobs properly." Sarah's expression softened slightly as she looked at the young man. "What's your name, officer?" "Reeves, ma'am." "Tommy Reeves. Earthborn." "Yes, ma'am." "New Brisbane," Sarah nodded. "Good people there. My grandmother was from Queensland." She turned her attention back to the lead enforcer. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to return to the council chambers. You're going to explain that there was a banking error, which my husband reported in good faith. You're going to recommend that not only are all late fees waived, but that the council issues a formal apology for this harassment. The Draxian was nodding so vigorously Marcus worried about whiplash. And, Sarah continued, her voice taking on an edge that could cut through bulkhead plating, you're going to suggest that the council implement proper verification procedures before sending armed enforcers to anyone's door over minor financial disputes. Because the next person you harass might not be as understanding as I am. Yes, Admiral. Immediately, Admiral. Oh, and one more thing. Sarah's smile returned warmer now. You'll tell Council Member Vrix, the Draxian who pushed for this eviction most vocally, that Admiral Sarah Hayes sends her regards, and that she remembers the Draxian Confederation still owes the Terran Defense Fleet quite a significant debt for our assistance during the plague years. The lead enforcer's color shifted again, this time toward a sickly green. He's my cousin, ma'am. I thought I recognized the family resemblance. Well, do give him my best. The enforcers couldn't retreat fast enough. They practically tripped over each other backing out of the dome, offering stammered apologies and salutes. When the door finally closed, Marcus burst out laughing. You know you're going to be the talk of the station by dinner time. Sarah shrugged, already unfastening the high collar of her uniform. Good. Maybe they'll think twice before pushing people around. She disappeared into the bedroom to change, calling back, Besides, the tea's getting cold, and I refuse to let bureaucratic nonsense ruin a perfectly good afternoon. Marcus poured 2 cups, shaking his head in admiration. 15 years, and she still surprised him. He'd married a woman who'd wanted nothing more than a quiet life after decades of service. But some people, he'd learned, carried their strength with them no matter what they wore. Outside the viewport, he could see the enforcer's shuttle departing with unusual haste. He raised his teacup in a silent toast to the stars, and to the woman who'd once commanded them.